If you're used to using primarily your sense of sight to understand art, then this might not even fall into the category of art.
Sound art isn't a field that even many fine artists know about. It's not something that you see in galleries or hear, I guess, in galleries. It's hard to envision how to display sound.
Well, this is a unique exhibition that uses primarily sound as a form of creative expression, and sound in this context is quite a bit different from music. That's probably what most people are used to, is this idea of hearing about sound, that there needs to be a certain kind of rhythm structure, there needs to be a certain kind of harmonic structure to it. But these works actually engage with sound on a more conceptual level, on a level that basically make people think, that engage with contemporary issues that other forms of art maybe do not do, or maybe do not do in the same way that these pieces are doing.
You're used to art being made that's visual, primarily visual, and that's what we normally show. But in this case, we decided to look at artists that are making visual work that the main component is really sound. It's work made about sound, but it has a visual component to it.
When you first walk into the gallery, you will see Low A by Jacob C. Hammes. There's a motor, or two motors rather, that sort of move and vibrate at specific frequencies based on a composition that the artist wrote. Also in the gallery, you will see Outpost by Lou Malazzi. You'll notice first a telescope. The telescope points directly through the gallery space to a small speaker mounted on the wall. And that speaker plays back the recording of the performance that Lou gave at the opening of Waveforms.
Puts the cell phone down, holds it next to him as he walks to the northeast.
Behind Low A in the gallery space, you will find The Elocutor by Fabian Winkler and Shannon McMullen.
The name of our project is The Elocutor. The full name is The Elocutor. I must remind you that we live in ... times.
It's a direct response to the seemingly irrational events that we're all facing right now in the light of the global economic crisis.
We produced an object which basically reads headlines that are taken from newspapers in real time through an RSS feed, and takes those English words and turns them into nonsense by spitting them out as allophones, the smallest pieces of the English language that you can almost understand through a combination of an Arduino board and a SpeakJet IC.
Further back in the gallery space, you will also find a collaboration between Norbert Herber and Roland Ricketts.
The first thing they'll see when they walk in are 11-foot textiles that have been dyed in 15 different shades of blue, set up on two opposing arcs. So it creates a small but comfortable space. The focus is really more on creating a background and doing something that creates a space and a place for someone to be, so that there's everything that you need to have an environment, but we haven't necessarily put anything in the environment. We don't think about a subject necessarily.
Visually, it's just got beautiful depth to it, and in terms of its integration with the sound, I think is really successful.
I use a lot of standard stuff, a stereo mic, a shotgun mic. Just, you know, they worked well for getting sounds in the studio and the sound at Roland's farm, where I really wanted to get as much of that space as I possibly could. But then when it came to getting some of the things in his studio that were specific to the dyeing process, there were a lot of things that you just couldn't record with those kinds of microphones. So I worked with a contact microphone. It's just a very small, flat piece of metal with 2 wires attached to it, so it completes a circuit. I also took an inexpensive tape recorder microphone, and by tape recorder I mean tape recorder, old school cassette tape. With the inexpensive microphone, I could wrap it in a condom and tie a knot at the top to seal it off from water entirely. And then I dunked that in the sink where he would rinse the textiles into the dyeing vat, and that recorded some of the most otherworldly sounds I've ever heard.
The audience reaction to Waveforms as an exhibit has been really overwhelmingly positive. People are very interested in new media art in general and in the ways that sound can be both absent and present within gallery spaces.
Interesting. People really liked it. They are, I think, unsure about it because they're not used to seeing things like this, although they are used to shows about technology here, and so that has provided some sort of basis for them when they come in.
Once you make this kind of work and people have a chance to experience it, it can lead to a heightened sense of awareness in your oral environment and can encourage you to listen differently or to experience different sounds. There's so many things that are around us that we just take for granted or tune out for one reason or another.
These are the kinds of shows that we like to do here, and we're going to continue to do that, sort of presenting things that people don't expect within a gallery space, and I think Waveforms has fit the bill on that.
After listening to work of other artists and spending more time with this sort of thing, my own hearing has changed, and I've found surprising beauty in everyday, ordinary sounds.